Hello and welcome back to the workshop, and welcome back to the Use What You've Got challenge. Today we're going to start working on the necks, starting with the fretboard. Now for both of these I'm going to do these identically. We're going to do a 24 fret and we're going to do a multi-scale. I'm going to do it slightly shorter than my last ones. I'm going to do a 24.75 to 25 inch scale. Then we're going to cut out the necks. So I've got these two boards here I'm going to use for my fretboard. They both got a little bit of sapwood. I think I'm going to just leave this one with the reddish brown color. And I'm going to try and get as much of the sapwood on this one here, because I like the design on that one. So I think we're going to try and use this side here, because there's a little bit more of it. Some of that may plane away as I do the radius on the fretboard, but I think we'll retain most of that. All right, we've got things roughly cut and routed and shaped. These pockets fit perfectly into their slots. And I've even gone ahead and made myself a template of the neck. So what's next? I've got to square up these sides here and cut the fret slots and do the fretting. And I've also cut out these thin strips of spili, mahogany, one or the other, that I'm going to use as the binding for this one. So as you can see, I got 4 of those. They're going to end up being about 2 or 3 millimeters when all is said and done. And I'm going to glue them onto the fretboard prior to gluing them onto the neck. So I need to square up some edges. I need to cut these fret slots. I think it's time for a montage. After all that, we've got 2 radius fretboards at about 14-inch radius. Word to the wise, you see some of this tear out. That means that your plane is not sharp enough. which unfortunately I didn't realize until after the first pass. After sharpening it though, it went beautifully. So I got a little more cleanup to do on that than I anticipated, but that's fine. At this point, we're going to glue some binding on. And I figured, while I'm at it, why not glue the top together? As you know, I can be impatient sometimes, so I'd rather get all the gluing out of the way at once so that I can just keep working. That's enough with the shenanigans. As you can see, I ended up clamping it down to my table this way. I figured if I have it overhung either way, I have plenty of material to plane away. So I clamped it down that way and got it close, but you can see I left a little bit of overhang. That way I can get it nice and flat before I glue these to the neck. So I've got to cut my angle at the end here so that I can apply the end binding on both of these and plane this down flat. Alright, so we got the binding all glued on. Now these bad boys are just about ready to be glued onto their respective necks. But first, I need access to those truss rods. So I'm going to first plane down these headstocks to the proper thickness that they need to be. You can see that they're still left rough, but I got a nice flat side on the back. So I'm going to run these through the safety planer to get them down to the proper thickness, and then I'm going to drill a hole to access those truss rods. But first, I'm going to plane these, and when we come back, we'll drill a hole. Now very simply, in these style headstocks, I'm just going to take a small drill bit and start a hole. Usually it's easier to start on an angle and then just go straight into that truss rod pocket. And then from there I'm going to widen it with a larger bit and then inlay some wood. I don't know what kind yet at this point, but it'll make for a nice clean look on that headstock. Now, having an exceptionally long bit helps in this instance. You just got to remember to take it slow and try and keep it as straight as possible. Now, if you wanted to, you could definitely stop right here. This hole is plenty big enough to get access to that truss rod. You can see, I push it down in here, test exactly where our placement is. Which, now that I look at it, I might make these holes slightly bigger just to get better access to that truss rod there. But I think that those holes are just fine. And now that I'm this far, all that's left is to glue these bad boys together. Alright, well those fretboards are drying. I think we'll call it here. If you like what you see so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to go ahead and follow the other guys down below that are taking part in this particular challenge. And as always, let me know down in the comments below if there's anything in particular you'd like to see. I love a good challenge, and the crazier they are, the more appealing they seem to be to me. So with all that, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.